on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and I think a lot of people are forgetting a very important detail about the future of the Aether storyline, and that is Ultimis Richthofen, who was already in control of the Aether at some point in the storyline, and that point was obviously Black Ops 2, so he has already seen, he's already felt, he's already experienced, and he's probably already learned things that may not have been shared in game or on the timeline or even in the comics yet. And I'm really looking forward to how Treyarch fleshed that out over the next couple of Aether maps, because I do think Ultimis Richthofen is the key, and that's been hinted at for the past year now. We obviously had Ultimis Richthofen in that new loading screen in the official Zombies comic, and we didn't know what that meant at the time. We didn't know why we had 3 Primus characters along with Ultimis Richthofen going to the house. We didn't know why we were getting these teasers and classified that Richtofen was the key. We didn't know what was going on, and we almost barely found out about post-Moon Ultimis being in Hangar 4 a couple of days after Black Ops 4 launched. So we were slowly putting the pieces of the puzzle together and noticing how Treyarch is almost flawlessly tying in the original storyline into the Great War storyline, and it's working, like I said, flawlessly. But the best part about that is that Ultimis Richthofen has already been through it all, and he is back in his body. So in terms of what's going to happen next, I'm pretty sure Ultimis Richthofen has the answers to that, and I'm sure post-Revelations or Great War Richtofen also knows that. He knows that they have somebody that they can use as an ally who has been in the Aether and has possibly seen some type of power that could be used against Dr. Monty. And I'm no dummy, I know for a fact we're going to be releasing the Shadow Man from the Summoning Key is going to help us out, but the fact that Ultimis Richthofen was crazy in the first place because of the Shadow Man, because he's heard the voices of the Shadow Man, and because Ultimis Richthofen's agenda has always been the Shadow Man's agenda, just means that their connection is going to be so powerful and very interesting as we go into the next couple of DLC maps for the Aether storyline. Now, we don't exactly know what's going to happen with the original staves, how the Great War is going to work. All we know at this point in time is that we had, in the beginning, we had that part of the timeline where we had Keepers versus Apothecans. Then after that happens, we have the usual events take place from World at War all the way to the end of Black Ops 3. But then when Dr. Monty sends Primus back to somewhere they've never been, that place is obviously the Great War, and that begins the cycle. So then Primus teams up with the Keepers to kill off the Apothecans, and then that new cycle just continues to loop around and around and around, and we just have Primus Keepers versus Apothecans, Primus Keepers versus Apothecans. That's it. But now that we've broke the cycle, it's going to be very interesting to see how we have Primus and Ultimis teaming up in the Great War, and possibly teaming up with the Apothecans to fight off Dr. Monty and the Keepers. So with Ultimis Richthofen on our side now, he could have seen something during his time in the Aether while we were playing as Victus that could easily be used to defeat Dr. Monty, and maybe even something up his sleeve that can also kill the Shadow Man along with Monty, because I do believe if we kill Dr. Monty with the help of the Shadow Man, then we're either going to have some type of cliffhanger where we're going to have to face the Shadow Man again in the next game, or we're going to have this huge trick up our sleeves where we also take him down with Monty. But instead of the Shadow Man manipulating us this time, we'd be manipulating him this time into helping us kill Monty so that he thinks we're doing something for his agenda, when really we're just wiping out all these motherfuckers and closing off all the alternate timelines, all the infinite universes, all that bullshit, just to keep the children safe. Now, I also wanted to bring up the idea that the Richthofen ending in the buried Easter egg could still be relevant in some way, shape, or form.
I am in control! The Aether is mine to manipulate as I wish! The moon is now my own! As an plaything! and re-enter the physical realm once more. I can choose anybody I wish. As for you, Maxis, you will simply cease to be. I'll be back. Toodles. Max ammo. Take a deep breath, Samuel. Fear about to get
Hostility when the big guy shows up!
closer.
The Mark II is indeed a significant enhancement.
Now, even though Richtofen was in control of the Ether during Black Ops 2, he never reached Agartha. We all know that the Maxis Endgame is canon, so when Maxis wins, he obviously is in control of the Ether. He goes to Agartha, plucks Samantha out of Ultimis Richtofen's body, and then obviously we know Samantha gets scared of her extremely powerful father and obviously travels to Dimension 63 to contact the other universe's Maxis, obviously in a universe where she had never been born, so that obviously bridges the gap between Buried and Origins. We all know that, yes, but at that point, Richtofen never got to reach that point that Maxis did, so maybe, just maybe, since we've picked up Ultimis now, Ultimis Richtofen could easily say, hey, you know what, during my time in the Ether, I saw alternate timelines where I actually won, and then X, Y, and Z happened, and then using that could be used to kill Monty, and then somehow we do something where we then trigger that Richtofen ending. Let's say obviously in a 30-second cutscene we could see Richtofen winning instead, and then that changes the course of history again, and it's another fracture and another big mumbled mess. But you guys kind of get what I'm seeing here, is that we could possibly use Richtofen's ending to our advantage in some way that could be used against Dr. Monty, because I do think that alternate storyline has such purpose. They can almost make an entire game off of that, because without the Maxis Endgame being canon, Black Ops 3 and 4 wouldn't exist. There would be no cycle, there would be no breaking a cycle, there would be none of that. So obviously Maxis' endgame is extremely important, but Richtofen's endgame could be used in a different fashion there. We can go to an alternate Buried, an alternate timeline of Buried, and have Richtofen win there, and then use whatever power he gains with the Shadow Man once he reaches Agartha to then shoot all of that at Dr. Monty. Just a little theory there. Hope you guys enjoyed that. This has been dkdynamite. Let me know what you think about all of that down below in the comment section. Just keep in mind, as we've been seeing the teasers all around Classified and even Blood of the Dead, that Primus will somehow fail and Ultimis will prevail. Now, we know Ultimis Richtofen is very important. I'm not sure what's going to happen to Ultimis, Dempsey, Nikolai, and Takiao. We do know they're going to help in some way within the Great War, but we know for a fact Ultimis Richtofen is definitely the key, and we know the Shadow Man is 100% coming back to help us kill Dr. Monty. But stay tuned in for more Black Ops 4 gameplay news and updates, and I'll be keeping you guys up to date with the latest information on the storyline as well. I'm very interested into what you guys have to say, and I can't wait to make more theories about the future of the Ether storyline. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out, YouTube.